Grace Believers Bible Study. We just took a break. Now we're going to have some fun. This is going to be fun for me because I know Donnie. Do I know Danny? Danny Rolin. He worked on our church for what? 2 years. And diligently. We didn't have any money, so we worked slow. Danny did most all the work. I was a go-getter, and getting parts and wood and stuff like that. I did a couple of things, but I was a grunt. Absolutely. Whoever said that's absolutely correct. Is that you, Rod? I will go ahead. It's still standing, so everybody's welcome to 7358 Peterson Point Road here in Middleton, Florida. But Danny told me that he was going to write a book. And, that kind of went in one ear and out the other. But, and like most people say that, they get saved and they get so excited, I'm going to tell everybody about it, and then you never hear anything else about it. And then, when somebody comes up and tells you they're going to write a book, that's a big job. That's a big deal. It's a big job. You don't just sit down and start writing. So he wrote on it. How many years you wrote? About 6 years. But I'm sure, I don't know what he's going to say. He's got about an hour to do it in. You can take less or you can take an hour, whatever. We got time tonight. And so we got 2 other preachers going to follow you up. So an hour's good. And he don't tell him what he's allowed to say. But don't make him mad. He's allowed with a body slam. He was a WWE wrestler, Had a few concussions, like 5. So he knows pain, and he knows how to exert pain, but he's not the same guy he was whenever he first came into my life. He's a great guy. Danny, come on up. Woo! Check. I don't talk very loud. First of all, I want to thank everybody for allowing me to come up here. Byron allowed me to come up here and tell you my testimony. Anyway, Byron pretty much made me take this opportunity because I'm not a speaker. I'm a doer. Being in the pro wrestling business, you get a chance to talk on the microphone every once in a while. Most of the time, you tell your story in the ring, so you have to do it without words. So I'm more of an action guy. I don't know how many of you guys ever heard of a guy named Jerry Clower. He's a comedian from the South. He told a story when I was a kid. He said that one of his cousins wanted to join the military and they wouldn't accept him because his voice wasn't where they wanted to be. It was real squeaky. So they sent him home, and a couple months later, he ended up getting a draft letter saying he was drafted into the military. He was so excited, and he went home and told his aunt. He said that one of the reasons, he said, she said, I thought they denied you. He said, I guess they need fighters now. The speech makes it over. So I'm a fighter. I don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, I grew up in the Assembly of Gods. A lot of you probably are familiar with that. You had to step out in the aisle, do something for salvation. You had to walk the aisle, raise your hand, say a sinner's prayer, which I today have not found that in the Bible. I looked and looked. I even wrote a book. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't in there. So when I met Tex, first of all, the person that introduced me to Tex, coming into the Assembly of Gods and coming to this, you talked about this, coming into the Assembly of Gods, from the Assembly of Gods into grace, you see how somebody acts. And if you would ever want to be judged, Assembly of God churches and Baptist churches, that denomination, they'll judge you. You know what I'm saying? They're always wondering who's with who and doing this. So coming to that, and the person was bringing me to it, I was like,
I was listening to the speech, kind of like an Amway thing. Okay, let me see. But Byron, I went to a church one day and met Byron, and then a year goes by, and I'm in a position to where I'm back and forth, and man, I'm really searching. I mean, at this point, I'm so lost. I mean, I could have been the hide and seek champion. You know, in their family. And so I met Byron. Byron came over to Texas house, and we sit and talked. Now, to back it up a little bit, my grandmother and grandfather raised me. I didn't know my father really, and up to about 8 or 9 years ago, my biological father. And so I didn't know, you know, I heard that I was, you know, had Native American in me, and somebody asked me out there, says, man, you know, I've never seen a Native American blue eyes, you know. It happens. But I was telling her a story that one of our first tribal chiefs, the traveling part of this Porch Creek Indians, they're in Alabama. And the first time one of the chiefs ever went to Washington, D.C., he met John F. Kennedy. And John F. Kennedy told him, you know, Mr. McGee, you're the first blue-eyed Indian I've ever met. You know, and you can tell this is way back. You know? But so they raised me, so I didn't get to know my father. And my mother, I was raised from 7 years old up with my grandparents. And my grandmother, I mean, her brother sitting right here, you know. He was, I can tell you, she was in the Assembly of Gods, but I mean, she was not one of the nicest women, you know. I mean, she's not here to defend herself, but I mean, she would too if she was here. She's, you know what I'm saying? She's scrappy. But she wasn't, you know, what you would think of someone who goes to church all the time. Somebody, you know, bakes cookies, and you know, she was pretty mean. You know, her and my grandfather had it out many times. But so they raised me, and I was raised up in the Assembly of Gods. And I was there. He can testify. Anytime the church door was open, I was there. They sung a lot. Everybody sung a lot, so we was there. So taking all of this with me up until the point I meet Byron, and Byron told me what grace was, and it sounded so simple. You know, I mean, who has prayed at night and tried to remember everything you've done that day? So just in case you took your last breath, you wouldn't wake up in hell. You know what I'm saying? That was the way it was. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I had to figure out, okay, I got to ask forgiveness. And ultimately, at the end of the day, grace is forgiveness is already been taken care of. You know, grace is, you know, you live. I tell people all the time, Christ died so you can live. So I mean, we live in the flesh every day, and the flesh is not going to be going anywhere. So it's going to be left behind. You know. So at the end of the day, Byron spoke with me about grace, and I'm so thankful for that, because on August 23rd, 2013, I was truly saved. I trusted Christ died for all my sins, was buried, and resurrected on the third day for my justification. Now, before that, I never heard about the justification. So how can one be saved and not know what justification is? You know, you can't hear the whole gospel. How can you be saved by a halfway gospel? So, with that being said, I've been a pro wrestler. I've got some of my buddies here that were pro wrestlers, and they can tell you, if you're going to live the superstar life, an old timer told me this, Ken Lucas told me this one time, if you're going to live the superstar life, you got to pay the superstar price, whatever that is, you know, whether it be drugs, women, rock and roll, anything. And it's crazy because saying all that and knowing what grace is now, I could have been saved a long time ago. You know, I mean, I wouldn't want to be doing drugs and rock and roll and women and all that stuff. I want to be cleaned up because, I mean, I want to have a whole lot better life so my kids can, you know, be a witness to that. And we have, me and my wife now, we have a blended family. I have two children from a previous marriage. One's 22 and one's 19, and then we have her three, which are twins, they're 12, and an 18-year-old just flew back in today from New York. She had to go see what the big life was about. whole family was just gone. But anyway, taking pro wrestling and living that, and when it comes time, a lot of guys can't break that pro wrestling thing. Josh, it's hard to get away from it. But when you find something new and refreshing, it's easy to walk away from something. It's just so easy. So I haven't really entertained too much of the pro wrestling world. I still, I have friends that call me up and ask me, what if? When it comes and presents itself, then maybe I'll, consider it, but I haven't had time for that. I actually run a small business in Atmore, Alabama, and we're growing on the daily, and it's a very successful business, pond business. So, learning 1 Corinthians 15, 1 through 4 was a big thing to me, and I try to share that with my friends because they still think, well, I've got to walk the church life, I gotta do that this way. They don't understand what they've seen on TV, Joel Osteen's and all that stuff is phony. It's just a way that Satan keeps you trapped. And it's crazy. I mean, I was listening to something the other day, and they were talking about in Genesis 1, God made Adam and Eve in his image, And then you go to Genesis 3, and you see where Satan is tempting, saying, hey, if you eat this certain thing, you will be like gods. They already had it. They were in his image. You know what I'm saying? So he's trying to give you something, tempt you with something that you already have. And that's what it is. I mean, on the way up, I was telling my wife, people can be, go to church and listen. As long as he's got you trapped, you will listen to that preacher, and that preacher can tell you everything you want to hear, but how to be saved. You know what I'm saying? And he keeps you coming back for more, because you're thirsty. But he's never given you the point that you need to hear. So he'll talk about everything from A to Z in that Bible and get you feeling good when you leave out there, and you sing a song and you cry your eyeballs out. Man, I feel so great, I'm going to hit Monday. But there's people, and I would say there's people dying every day loving Jesus and going straight to hell. Because I won't say you have to love Jesus in order to be saved. So, we go through, I went through my wrestling deal, and it was just, without Byron, I call him all the time, and he's the one person I go to when I can't talk to anybody else, because, like he was talking about your brothers earlier, people don't understand grace. So when you try to talk to them, the first thing they say is, well, so you talk about these 13 books here, so what do you do, throw the rest of them away? And I'm like, no, you don't, man. Why don't you throw that away? You know what I'm saying? Learn from it. You take it and you learn it as a whole. And I tell people all the time, every day the military gets up, the United States military gets up, and they work out, do their job, and they plan for something just in case it happens. Well, if you don't plan for that to happen, these guys over here, they're doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So you're having to study your enemy. And people are like, oh, you can't study that and be saved. You can too. You can be saved studying that kind of stuff. And people don't get that. People don't get that in general. People think just because I become saved that I can't listen to rock and roll music. Or I can't study anything that Satan says. I can't look into that because it's forbidden. And you don't go to war with an enemy not knowing what the enemy does. So anyway, get back to Byron. Byron sat down on the porch and he drew me out a little diagram. And y'all see it. I'll see it 100 times before tomorrow ends. It's just this right here. And he says, Christ was crucified, he was buried, and he resurrected for your justification. And it was on a little whiteboard, and it hit me. And he left. A few days goes by, and I start thinking about that. Man, it's so easy. That is totally not what I understand. It's not that ain't what. I mean, it was like going back to kindergarten, and after studying studying for a master's. It's like, man, that's not simple. So Byron showed that to me, and it just hit me. And like I said, on August 23rd, 2013, I trusted that right there. And life has not gotten easier, and it will not. I mean, you are, Satan is trying to break you every day. He can't take your salvation from you. Anybody who understands grace knows that. A lot of people don't believe once saved, always saved. I have to show them the Bible where it says that. Say that, you can't be plucked out of the Father's hands. And so, you're good. Christ can't deny himself. And so, with that being said, Satan, every day, I have to battle certain things. You're always battling the flesh, and you're always trying to do, you get down. I mean, anybody who's been saved can testify to this. I look at it as a blacksmith. He's judged off the strength of the steel. How good is the steel? And that's how I look at it. Every day I get up and I say, okay, I'm going to be a blacksmith today. I'm going to be strong, and I'm going to do the best thing to do, and I'm going to watch what I say and do, and I'm just trying to, every day is trying to be better, better, better. But, you can't, everybody's watching you. Everybody's watching you. They're waiting for you to mess up. They're ready to pounce on you. They're ready to destroy your witness. As a witness, they're just ready to destroy you. I'll tell you, the worst place is small towns. Especially when you wear a shirt like this. Everybody's watching you, everybody's watching you. And so they're saying, oh, that Danny Rolin, that. But, it's hard to be a big fish in a small town. But if you want to work towards something, I've got plans to run for mayor one day in this little town. And I hope Byron's around to help me get that done, But Byron say, I called him up on some of our conversations, and I said, Byron, what about this? And he said, well, what are you going to do when I'm gone? I said, well, I guess I'm going to have to look up myself. But you're here now, so we can do this. But anyway, all I can say at the end of the day, I try to make it, I try to do my best. And at the end of the day, I'm thankful for my friends like Josh and Eddie and Mom Fred and my Aunt Faye and my wife and Ken and Byron. Some of y'all are already home. Dave back there, he's hiding. Joe, he's been a part of my life. Big Rick over there, he's over there in the corner. But I'm thankful for you guys, and y'all have made me a better person. And I want to be a better person for you guys. And if you haven't, if this is your first time here and you haven't trusted that Christ died, was buried, resurrected on the third day of your justification, just trust Him. And if you're 50 years old and you just grew up this way, and you say, well, I was saved when I was 12, I was saved when I was 10. Man, eternity is a long time to be on. So just trust Him. Just say, you start now. And learn it. I didn't think I could ever write a book. I'll be honest with you. But I thought Byron was exactly what I said when I said I would write a book. He's like, calm down. And when I wanted to be a pro wrestler, I went to a guy who's Hollywood John Taylor. Huge guy. I said, I want to be a pro wrestler. He says, sure you do, kid. Why don't you find somebody to teach you how to play baseball? You know what I'm saying? And I will tell you, wrestling is a whole lot easier than writing a book. I'll tell you that. It don't hurt us. The only thing you might get a paper cut. But it don't hurt nearly as much. But I know this. This is on Amazon, and I know that whoever gets it, they'll read it, and it will be judged. It's just common. It's common. And I want them to judge it because it makes me a better person. But at the end of the day, I thank y'all for allowing me to come up here and speak. I think Byron kind of twisted my arm a little bit when you're speaking. It's good when one of your nemesis over there. I used to wrestle this guy who walked in the door. He just showed up. You're not a little guy. You're changing stuff when guys like that walk in the door and want to hear you what you have to say. And he was a big part of my life too. He actually helped me design this cover. He helped me design my belt out there. If you get a chance to look at that belt, the story behind that belt is a belt of Gentiles. And everybody's a Gentile. And there's a lot of verses on there. First story behind that Bible, behind that book, that belt is, I have a lot of, when I have organizations, I have a guy I reach out to, and he's overseas. And I never had him make a belt like this before. But what's crazy about it, he's a Muslim. He made this belt. And I think that was amazing. And I told him about it, I think that's the most amazing thing. Because he could have told me, Danny, I've done work for you in the past, and this is a Christian belt, and I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Not that, I mean, he's a Christian, but we all know what that term is. But he said, he could have said, I don't want to make this belt for you. And I thought that was great. And you get a chance to take pictures with it. Read the book, get you one.
What's the name of the book?
I appreciate it. Thank you, Myra, for twisting my arm. I didn't want to see you sweating and start to drop a little bit. The name of the book is Wrestling with Grace. It's how Saul became Apostle Paul. It's his story. And it's cool about it because y'all know David Green that comes to the conferences. Yeah, he was here last year. David was supposed to be here this year, but he helped me with some of the editing. And David said, Danny, I wrote many books. And he says, I wrote one, but Arthur wrote it, but you have a song, or wrestling song, right? Part of it. Other part of it, and I kind of wrote it. And I put some things in there that people that touched my life in the wrestling business, Dusty Rhodes, I put some stuff in there, put some stuff in there. Road Dogs told me. Guys that are in WWE or passed away now, so you know what I'm saying? You know, I've met a lot of people. I was fortunate enough to get in the wrestling business when wrestling was still, you know what I'm saying? and now it's, people say, oh, it hurts. I'm like, well, you can see my heroes. It hurts when I have to pay, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, this is pretty cool. So I really embrace my Native American heritage and something important to me. This shirt here is a ribbon shirt, and if you go to the powwows, you'll see a lot of people wearing shirts in there for special occasions, ceremonies, and stuff like that. And I really thought this was special, so I wanted to wear it here to show you guys. So, thank you guys for the time.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.